District 1881 in downtown Chilliwack is quickly becoming a tourist destination. It's the talk of the town. But there was a time when even the local people who lived in the Chilliwack municipality wouldn't even come down to our downtown. They told me in lots of visits that I had with people on the other side of town, they would say, I've never been downtown and I don't plan on going there. People have told me to stay away from downtown, and they did. Now we have people from other cities coming here to visit our downtown, and everybody who lives in Chilliwack comes to the downtown and celebrates this beautiful place called District 1881. There's a story behind it all. The rejuvenation of our downtown is a fantastic story, and this video is going to go behind the scenes, and I'll even take you back in time a little bit so that you can understand the spirit and focus and perseverance that it took to bring about what we get to experience today. So stick with us to the end, and I promise you this is going to be a story of inspiration for you about the city of Chilliwack. Downtown Chilliwack's growth and development trace back to the 1880s, when a construction boom mirrored the town's expansion, ushering in a new era of progress. This is when the downtown Chilliwack truly began to take shape, as brick buildings, shops, and services lined the streets, and the area flourished. We decided to schedule a visit at the Chilliwack Archives. We met with Tristan, and we learned a lot of interesting details about Chilliwack's early days.
You might notice there's an extra H right here. This is a 1959 map of Chilliwack, and this one is a 1954 map of Chilliwack.
Okay.
We keep them here for a reason. There's no H right here, and that's because there are actually two Chilliwacks. I think of it like a donut. So the Chilliwack is the donut, and the city was the Timbit.
Oh.
The city was incorporated separately in 1908. And the story behind that is, if you think back to 1873, Chilliwack is incorporated. It's a very rural community. It is a bunch of separate, smaller communities, what we call Greendale, Vedder Crossing, Rosedale, Ryder Lake. They wanted to pool their resources so they could build roads to get their produce to the Fraser River, which is the highway of the time.
Downtown Chilliwack was once known as Centerville, and it was the bustling commercial and cultural heart of our community. At the epicenter of this vibrant district lies the historic intersection known as Five Corners. Five Corners was a symbol of Chilliwack's vitality.
And then as things progressed, we created a somewhat of a highway at the time, which would have been Yale Road.
Exactly. So
here.
Trans-Canada Highway was Yale Road, and you'll even see it in the directories labeled as Trans-Canada Highway, and it went right through Five Corners. Yeah.
Right. So that also was a bit of a reason why that would have been, the thriving part of the town.
Exactly. Yeah.
However, like many downtown areas across our nation, our Chilliwack downtown has had its share of economic ups and downs. With the surgence of enclosed malls, with large department stores as anchors, big box warehouse type stores, and the growing trend of online shopping, the boutique shops had been struggling to make ends meet over the last few decades. In addition, downtown Chilliwack experienced further decline due to increased development near the Trans-Canada Highway to the south. Historical and iconic buildings like the Empress Hotel saw increased neglect over the years, reminding us of the need for change. At one time, the hotel was the place for the high class to go when they came to Chilliwack, and it was a quick horse and buggy ride from the train station. I've been told that even the Queen of England recorded a stay at the once elegant Empress Hotel in Chilliwack. But in recent years, the property was on the target list for demolition for the same issues that purely pertain to the age of property and underground infrastructure.
I remember back around 2011, that was my office right there. And I remember looking out at my office in this area right over here and watching the demolition of the Empress Hotel and just being mesmerized by this, how they just destroy buildings, and then watching it over the years turn into just a flat site that just was used for parking for a while until what happened to what we see today.
We had the chance to sit down with Brian Coombs from Chilliwack Economic Partners Corporation, SEPCO, to talk about the downtown Chilliwack revitalization story.
Yeah, so it really actually was the city of Chilliwack that started that. And
Okay.
you know, it goes back. We actually came across a study from 1972, you know, the future of the downtown in 1972. So I always talk about the fact that the process that people are seeing today has been decades in the making.
Wow, I didn't know about that. That's pretty interesting.
For over 2 decades, residents, business owners, and city committees worked together to define the vision for Chilliwack's downtown.
Through, in about 2010, the city of Chilliwack formed a downtown core task force, bringing people together to begin the discussion around where they wanted to see the downtown go. That committee released a report in 2011 that outlined a series of recommendations.
Following recommendations from the city's Downtown Core Task Force, the City of Chilliwack and the Chilliwack Economic Partners Corporation assembled properties at the site bounded for Yonge Road, Yale Road, Princess Avenue, and Empress Lane. This was a long and onerous process. The Empress property, along with the other key properties adjacent to the site, was acquired. First step achieved. The next step was to get it shovel-ready.
The mayor and council of the day back in 2010, 2011 were very courageous when they made the decision that we need to do something bigger. You know, we need to take a bigger step forward that would entice and attract the development community to want to be a part of the downtown. And at that time is when SEPCO came alongside the city, and together we worked on consolidating 21 properties, which is just under 4 acres, which is where District 1881 is today.
The idea was that they had to erase all of the question marks and create a site that was ready for a developer. Then, on September 14th, 2017, the City of Chilliwack released a press release, a request for proposals.
And so the request for proposal
Right.
goes out in right around 2017.
That's right. So once all of the properties were consolidated, SEPCO and the city had to talk about, okay, what next? You know, if we just sold it off, we'd be right back to square one. So the decision was to issue this request for proposals. Actually did a tour of developers downtown the day we released the RFP, just to get them here and get them walking around. And it was a good experience. It was like a blank palette.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them saw that. And I have to say, the one that we chose, the Alger Brothers, was so outside of the box and so beyond anything that we had expected. And, you know, we can look across the street now and the rest is history.
Alger Brothers Development is now building a multi-year, multi-phase project that provides a broad range of jobs, amenities, and housing, and creates a diverse and inclusive downtown core that contributes greatly to the overall economic growth of Chilliwack.
And I think you and I have both traveled outside our community into other countries and seen a little bit of some Europe and stuff like that in different cities. And I love going to cities. I love going to the little offbeat paths and walking around and just kind of seeing how and kind of why it's thriving. You know, I remember someone saying back in the day, this would have been around 2011, someone saying, we need businesses in our downtown where someone would drive 100 kilometers and go, I want to go there for that awesome donut or that awesome experience or that funky little wine bar or that, you know.
Yeah.
And
Tour buses are literally coming into downtown Chilliwack now.
yeah, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Downtown Chilliwack, with its rich history and architectural heritage, continues to be an essential part of our city's identity. It's evolved to meet the needs of our residents while retaining its historical charm.
as people see the opportunity that if we just clean up our business, the front of our building, if we each take pride in our own location,
Yeah.
and that's what's happening. There's a lot of community pride downtown right now where people are realizing that if we work together and we take those positive steps, it enhances the attraction so that when those tour buses are coming to District 1881, hopefully you get that spillover effect as they explore other areas as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout District 1881, you can see amazing public art and First Nation murals that speak to the Indigenous heritage and history of the area. Woolly Dog Alley, Sasquatch Alley, and Thunderbird Lane are lined with locally owned restaurants, breweries, boutiques, personal and professional businesses, offices and residences. New businesses, cultural events, and recreational spaces are on the horizon. District 1881 is a living, breathing testament to the resiliency of our community. There's something for everyone here. We invite you to come and be part of this ever-evolving story.